Hello and welcome to Let's Speedrun, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX. No save and quit, no wrong warp, no out of bounds. I'm your host, Zorlax7. Little preface about this first video. There's going to be a lot of the technical stuff in the very beginning about versions, emulators, timings, things like that. So if you want to skip ahead to actual gameplay, there will be a timestamp in the video. This is going to be kind of a long video. Another little aside about all these tutorials, these are going to be aimed primarily at brand new runners of the game. However, if you're a veteran runner, you might still pick up a few things, but I will be going over just about every strat I know, which includes the main strats, backup strats, race strats, what have you. So just about everything I know and that I've seen done in speedruns. So I want to go talk a little bit about versions. So briefly, you want version 1.0 of the game. You cannot do the main speedrun route in 1.2 or 1.1. You may use US or Japanese, the US or Japanese version. However, the Japanese version saves about 2.5 minutes on text. With that being said, most people use 1.0 Japanese. As for how you're allowed to speedrun this, you can use emulators or console. There are only 3 accepted emulators, which are Gambate, which is what I use for my speedruns, BizHawk, which is based off Gambate, which is more of a task tool, and BGB. BGB is probably the most common you'll see in the LADX speedrun community, just because it looks nicer. I use Gambate because I like the way its save states work, which are really nice for practicing. For console, you can use just about any console version of the game except for the Super Game Boy 2 or Super Game Boy 1, excuse me. Port, or it's not really a port, but you can't use the Super Game Boy 1 because it runs a little bit faster. The 3DS version of the game is actually version 1.2, so it won't work for this speedrun route. Yeah, I think that's all that needs to be said about that. So first things first, let's talk a little bit about no save and quit, no wrong warp, or no out of bounds. No save and quit's pretty obvious. You can't save and quit the game mid-run. What you can do is you can bring up the save and quit menu, which we'll be doing a lot, and you are allowed to die, but you're not allowed to death warp. So briefly, what that means is that you are not allowed to die to change Link's position in an advantageous way. You are allowed to die, let's say if you're low on health and you just want to kind of refill your hearts up, you're allowed to die, take an intentional death to do that, but to move Link's position is not allowed. No wrong warp, that's also kind of self-implied. That's pretty obvious what that means too. Any screen transition or door you take needs to take you to its intended location. No out of bounds is kind of tricky right now. There's no really accepted definition, but the easiest way, the most precise, the easiest way we'll go with would be you cannot do screen transitions while inside solid objects, and you're not allowed to stand or move on ceilings in any way whatsoever. There's a lot more of a technical definition, but I think that'll be enough for now. So, without further ado, we can start up the run. You don't need to start from a clean file. You can keep the same file name each time. I erase the file and start over every time. But as long as the file starts out in Terran's house, your run's okay. For the first frame of speedrunning, it's going to be the first frame that Link disappears, so let's advance the game. So that's going to be the first frame if you want to count frames after your speedrun. That's the first frame of speedrunning. So we started up the game, we get the little sleeping cutscene. First thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to mash for text as soon as it comes up. So a little note, you can see this arrow right here. If you see that arrow, that means you're not mashing fast enough. So what I like to do is I like to wait for the text boxes to kind of fill up, and then I start mashing. So then you hop out of bed. I use down because you can kind of get stuck on Marin a little bit. And you have to talk to Terran. So you'd hop out of bed. You can talk to Terran from kind of far away, like from right around here or so. So you can do that to save a few frames. Well, see, I didn't do it very well, but it's not too hard to see. Then you're gonna do the same thing here. Get your shield and make your way out. So the first speed technique that we're going to learn is wall clipping. So what is wall clipping? It's let's just talk about how you do wall clipping. You can do wall clipping by like touching the corner of a wall, and then you can see Link kind of push into it. I'll do it frame by frame. See how Link is pushing, and he goes down a little bit. So Link is kind of wall clipping this wall. It's kind of hard to see. Let's do it with this wall instead. So we're inside this wall 2 pixels more than we normally should be. So look at where Link's ear is in respect to this fence post. It's kind of inside the fence post. So let me walk away, touch the wall, and then kind of get as far and face the same way. See, we're not quite as far inside the wall as we normally are. So if you just touch the wall, if you touch the corner, you'll get inside the wall. And I'll be using that all over the place in the run. So, okay, so we leave the house. I like to get a little wall clip going on here when I move, another wall clip here just to save some frames. Same thing here, you can do a wall clip here. We're just trying to optimize our movement. We're making our way down to the beach to get the sword. Wall clip there. Wall clip here. Go down here. This Octorok right here is known to troll. I've heard there's a strat that you can, if he goes to the right and walks right down this path right here, that you can have your shield out or something, and then you can kind of boost it down. I don't know anything about that strat personally. I've never actually seen it done, but I'm just throwing that out there. Also, you want to get a wall clip going on right here, because then when you fall, you get pushed in the center. Save a few frames. Now we have to have our shield out to push these sea urchins. I like to get a lower wall clip going on here. Same thing here. And we're going to do another trick called Quick Sword. So the way this trick works, I guess I can leave the game on, is you hold your shield, walk to the left, or walk to the right, excuse me, and hold your shield while the owl swoops in to talk to you. When the owl's done talking, you cancel the last text box with your shield button, which is most likely going to be B, and you hold B, and then hold right. So, shield, hold right, keep on holding right, then you clear all the text. I'm gonna wait for the last text box. So right here. So this is the last text box. You'll learn these characters. I assume it's the Japanese for what an owl says. How we say the owl says hoot hoot. Japanese, the owl says this. So for this, on this text box, you want to hold right, cancel, and hold with B, and you'll pick up the sword. You'll pick up the sword right before the owl gets there, or right before the owl leaves, and that saves about a second and a half. Hold up and right while you get the sword because you'll move a little bit. Then we're going to make our way back up the beach, kill these sea urchins. These sea urchins have really wide hitboxes, so you want to dodge them as much as you can. So this screen, we want to optimize our movement as much as possible, so you want to enter low. And this Octorok is key to what you'll do. If he moves right, just walk around him. If he moves down, walk above him. If he moves left far enough, you can kind of sneak in there. If he moves up, just swing your sword and go by him. So we can kind of sneak. Oh, I didn't quite get it. Let's see if we can get a better one. So enter low. Actually, you're supposed to swing your sword there. Can't demonstrate my own strats, but you would walk around him. This isn't really that important. Same thing here. You want to dodge this guy if you can. Swing your sword only if he gets in your way, because swinging your sword is slow in movement. This guy, you swing your sword too to get past him. I've also heard of a strat where you go in from below, and sometimes you can kill the guy there too. Okay, so we're gonna make our way up. I'm gonna be using speed up throughout this tutorial. Hope that's okay. I'm gonna pick up some spare hearts. These all have hearts. If for some reason you ever needed a heart refill, you can get them there. Here we go. More owl text. So just try your best to mash through the text boxes. Again, I like to wait till the text boxes are basically done, then I start mashing. And you can move a little bit during the last text box, so keep that in mind, so you can hold up during that. Those guys, you kind of just want to walk around, dodge them as much if you can. If this guy moves right or if this guy moves down, just swing your sword and walk by them. Simple. Same thing with this. If this Moblin moves up initially, just swing your sword and walk right by him. So here we have a fun little trick. I'm gonna make a save state. Look at my save states. It looks like this. So this is y-axis pixel perfect. So if I move 1 pixel up, I will fall in the pit. If I was 1 pixel lower, I would not be able to destroy both those crystals. The reason we do that is because we need to push that block and get that chest. So, to be honest, I only just do this by muscle memory at this point, so just take some practice, just enter, exit, and practice this a few times and you'll get it. If you really need a visual cue, sometimes people like push into this block a little bit and do something like that. I don't really know much about that. It's really easy with muscle memory. So there's two ways after you do that. After your spin, you should actually kill that keys that was right here. Your goal is to walk around and enter this tile as low as you possibly can, because then that keys will not see you. Then you push the block, open the chest, that keys will fly in here, and then you can swing your sword and break one of the crystals at the same time. So that should look like this. I'll talk about that save menu in a second. If you go too high, let's see, let me walk a little too high. Well, I'd force a habit. Walked too high, so that's what would happen. So if you walk too high, you do that. It's slightly slower because you'll have to kill this keys in the meantime too. So keep it low. And you'll see that I open the save and quit menu with A, B, start, and select whenever I open the chest. This is actually a case where you're not supposed to open the save and quit menu. But when you open up the save and quit menu when opening a chest, it skips the chest text, so that chest says you found 50 rupees, yay, or something. So we bring up the save and quit menu when we open a chest. You cannot do it right the same frame you open a chest, you need to wait. I think the window is 8 frames. If you do it too fast, if you bring up the save and quit menu too fast, you'll still get the chest text, which wastes time. I've heard that some people, if you have trouble getting all the face buttons down at the same time, I heard that some people like to map their buttons to the start and select buttons to the bumpers of their controller or something, just to make it a little bit more consistent. And if you still have trouble with it, it's not a big deal. It only saves maybe 30 seconds on the run. That being said, you should not bring up the save and quit menu on this chest. It's just force a habit for me. It's a few frames slower to bring it up on that chest only. Alright, moving on. Remember to keep your wall clipping. Do your wall clipping as much as you can. Wall clip on this door, just to save some frames. Here, we actually do kind of want to wall clip because it'll make things a lot easier. We're going to do something called Moblin Skip. So I'm going to hopefully demonstrate it and then we'll talk about it. It needs to face up and do that. So, first thing, this Moblin needs to be facing up and he needs to be kind of in this area. You'll bump him to the left while he's facing up. You'll bump him with your shield, excuse me. You'll bump him to a certain extent, and then you'll wall clip into this pit. You'll wall clip holding up, and then as soon as you cross a certain point, you hold upright, and then he'll shoot an arrow at you, allowing you to cross. So, that's really good RNG. So let's go see where his elbow is. We want his elbow to line up exactly with the bottom of this bush. That's going to be our cue that we can do the trick. You have 2 more bumps after that, so let me see if I can do this well. That's where we want to start doing the clip. But if you have trouble seeing that, you can do 2 more bumps. See how he moved a lot there? You can actually start doing the trick there too. So if you're really unconfident, you can push him a little bit farther. Pushing him farther is a little bit slower. I won't be able to do the trick there. Let me just kill him real quick and demonstrate what you're supposed to. So you bump him, hold up, then hold upright. So you might want to watch the inputs for that. Bump him, hold up, then upright. The way the pits work, you don't fall into them right away. So make sure you get that wall clip up, upright. So bump him. He's lined up. I went 1 extra. Up, upright. If he's just not working with you, like this, you can reset the screen until he works with you. His elbow lined up. There you go. That's going to take a little bit of practice. It's one of the things that new runners have trouble with, but that's about how it works. And if you're having a lot of trouble and you need to slow down your bumps, you can hold upright, and then Link will be moving diagonally, which slows down his movement, and that'll give you more time to react between bumps. That's what I used to do back in the day. There you go. Alright, that being said, now we have another trick. So remember how I said, actually we'll just go straight into it. So this is called owl skip. So normally what happens, let's say you open the chest, this owl comes, talks to you. We're going to try to skip that, and I'm very bad at it. I'm terrible at it. There we go. It looks like this. And then we skip the owl text, and that saves about 5 seconds. So how that trick works. You open the chest with A or B, doesn't matter which, and then the very next frame you push start, or you can push save. I think start's a little bit more consistent, even though I'm terrible at it. So you'll know when you get it is when you see, like, you don't get the text, obviously. Okay. So we were able to get the pause menu, and we see the key coming out. When we unpause, we're gonna unpause, then push and hold all of the face buttons at the same time to bring up the save menu. This is called buffering, and we'll go over this a little bit more later. So we unpause, hold, bring up the save menu, cancel the save menu, and then just walk down. If you don't get it, it's not a big deal. It's going to take a little practice. I'm very bad at this. I can very rarely get this in runs, but there you go. I think that's all that needs to be said about that. Don't ever go back to that screen, because then the owl will talk to you. So, actually, let's go back a little bit. The reason we do this is because it skips getting the mushroom, which is one screen south, which saves about 40 seconds on the run. I don't know the route to do the whole mushroom side quest powder thing. Do this, I'm gonna fail it, doesn't matter. So I can just cycle through the text. Normally we have to sprinkle powder on the raccoon here, and it'll turn into Terran. That's great, whatever. So we're gonna go down, walk around, try to dodge as many enemies as possible. That's always the route I use. I come down here, I swing my sword, and I react to whatever happens here. I didn't quite sneak by that guy, but that's how I do that. Your hearts don't matter too much at this point. So we're gonna make our way down to the Trendy Game. So just making sure that your movement is diagonal wherever possible in this case. Not a very common case. So we'll go over the Trendy Game real quick. So you can talk to the Trendy Game guy from really far away. Push A, then you can cancel his text with B. Bring your crane over here, and then your goal is to wait till the top of the powder reaches this line of arrows right here, and then you'll just tap A. So you let go of B. Whoops, I tapped A really late. I don't do that strat there very often, but you can cancel text with B. Wait for the top of the powder, then tap A, and then that should grab it, like so. Strat I use, I actually just walk up to him all the way, and then bring the crane over, and then immediately tap A as soon as it's in position. That's how I do things. When you wait for the powder to come, I like to get a wall clip right here because it'll save like a frame or something. Speed this up. There we go. So we're gonna slash this bush, bush. Sometimes this dog, you hit this dog and he charges at you. Just keep that in mind if you're like at half a heart or something. You don't want to die there. Walk around these bushes here and make our way into the shop. So our goal is to steal the shovel and leave, and we'll re-enter. So let's go over how the shopkeeper works. So the shopkeeper's on this timer, and my method for stealing from the shopkeeper is you go in, take the item you want, walk to right about there, and then you wait for however long it takes for him to look at you. So if he takes 1 second to look at you, you stand there for 1 second, and then you leave. So he looked at me instantaneously. That's kind of an exception to the rule. If he looks at you instantaneously, you wait for like a quarter of a second, then you leave. So kind of waited a while, and that's how you do it. So this is pretty. As soon as you learn how to do that, it's 100% consistent. But the one that gets people, that trips people up, is the instantaneous look. If he instantaneously looks at you, you wait a quarter second, then you start leaving. So we steal the shovel. This is the only intentional death in the run. You buy the bombs. We're gonna steal the bow here. Oops, that was my bad. I went way too fast. Oh, so I'm hoping for like an instantaneous look or something, so I can just demonstrate that. So I waited just for a smidgen of a second. And there we go. Now we have the bow, which is going to be very useful throughout the speedrun. So now we're going to make our way to Dungeon 1. Now I'm going to be going over what's called Piece of Power routing. Piece of Power is a power-up that drops every 30 enemies you kill. What things that reset Piece of Power are killing 30 enemies and dying and saving and quitting. So keep that in mind if you're trying to route out Piece of Power. Piece of Power saves about 40 seconds in the run when done optimally. So it's not a big deal if you don't start out with it, but just keep it in the back of your mind if you want to start improving your run. So my route kills 3 Octoroks. That's all you need to know for this split. Just kill 3 Octoroks. Those are the ones I usually kill. And keeping in mind this wall clipping idea, to do that wherever you can. Last trick of this segment. Normally you just go up there and place the key, but if you're facing up, you can put the key in from somewhere else. You don't need to do a wall clip into this to be able to do that. So the way that works is you walk up, push up, and then push and hold upright. Walk there, up. I did it too early. Up, hold upright, and then you'll get that. Saves a few frames. And that's it. We made our way to D1. In the next video, we will talk about Dungeon 1, which is actually pretty easy. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time.